What Canon lens can I buy for under 100? Let's find out. So in this one, I'm going to quickly bring you a few options. We've got loads of camera gear. We love our camera gear. But when it comes down to it, you want to buy a lens. What kind of lens should you buy? That depends. Today, I'm going to show you a few options for lenses, and those lenses will help you decide if it's the right one for your budget. So 100 is not a lot of money, but 100 US currency, dollars, pounds, which one? It depends. But I'm going to show you a few options today, and these options are going to actually help you because different types of cameras in the Canon lineup of lenses need different lenses. What? Different lenses need different lenses? That makes no sense at all. So if you got a DSLR camera, a Canon, I did a whole series about budget cameras. You can buy from all the way down as little as 100 all the way up to 900, and I showed you a number of cameras. Some were full frame, some were crop. But if you're interested in a lens, this is a video for you. I'm going to basically give you options for cheap lenses. In this one, we're looking at anything under 100. So what I've done is I've used our good old, because of this price range, we're going to have to use eBay. You can use Facebook, you can use Gumtree or Craigslist, stuff like that. However, with Facebook, there's an element of protection involved where people describe the lens as closest to what you expect it to. Because if you don't know much about lenses and you turn up at someone's house to buy a lens, you might not be able to test everything and it's sold as seen. Whereas online, you are able to see as much information as possible. And if there's any problems, you can speak to the sellers. It's very rare. They'll give you like a dud. But there have been occasions as well. So just keep your eyes about you and keep an eye on my tips of how to buy from eBay sellers, which I might link in the description. The main things to look out for is the feedback. Are they only selling photography gear, which makes you more likely to buy from them because they're regularly selling that gear. So they're more of a contributor. They're basically a business, you could say. If it's a one-off item, maybe it's someone getting rid of something from their collection. Or you can always ask questions and see what the feedback is like. So that gives you a good inkling. If it's a new item and they've not sold anything in the past, then be careful with that. But I'll show you an example live so you can actually see how I would go about this. So right away, we have a quick filter on this setup. I'm looking at between 50 and 100. I'm only looking in the UK. And you know what? I've got a Canon on there. Let me take the Canon off. And we'll see everything because I know Young New will make a few cheap lenses as well, so we'll see what comes up there. I've put it in order of price list highest to lowest. We have a first lens straight away, which is a EFS IS. So EFS, like I mentioned before, is a type of fitment on the lens. It will fit on crop sensor bodies, so cameras which are not full frame basically. EF lenses are backwards compatible, but EFS lenses aren't compatible with EF cameras, if that makes sense. I'll do a separate video, I think, explaining that, and I'll give you examples of what the differences are with those. So the first one, I'll quick note on this because I know our podcast listeners liked this series. So I'm going to add in the description the lenses and the names so you can easily find these guys. So it'll be like a list of 1, 2, 3, and you'll see that in the description. Okay, first one. It looks like someone's selling it because it's on a nice carpet. It's a lens and it has a hood on it, and it's a 17 to 85 millimeter lens. It's an IS lens, EFS, and a USM lens. So USM stands for ultrasonic motor. So when you're focusing, it'll be a little bit faster focusing. The 17 to 85 is the distance that you can use of the lens. So for example, how wide it is against how focused it will be on the image. Not focused, how zoomed in. That's the right word to use. So if I was 17 millimeters, you'll see, let me show you an example. Let me just bring up. So if I was to show you 17 millimeters, what that would mean is it's a wide view. So if I was sitting in front of you, you would see me as well as the desk. And then if we were going to be focusing in on it, then this would be something more like a 50 millimeter where it's actually in the same distance away the camera is. However, you can see more of me seeming like I'm closer to you. And then 85 millimeter would be really close up. It's like a telephoto basically. So you'll see more of a square of my face if the camera was about 5 feet away. That's like a bit of a layman's explanation, but I'm hoping if you're looking at this price range, you're probably new to photography and you're looking for cheap stuff to get involved. So there's nothing wrong with buying second-hand gear. Fully working auto and manual focus complete with front lens cap, rear cap and lens hood. So straight away on the seller, I can see he has 796 feedback score. So he sold at least 796 items. He's 100% positive. Normally I would click on the person's name and have a quick glance at what else they're selling. So you can see here, the lens must have come off this additional body that he's got, which is also a Canon 400D, and he's got a couple of other lenses. But he has got 261 items, so possibly he is a seller of a number of different items which all seem to be digital and gear. So he's probably buying and selling like from local people or shops or something. So there's a couple of football memorabilia cards in there. So okay, that's a trustworthy seller. I would use him. Tazzy DJR is this one. So what you do with that lens is you pay $99.99 or you can make an offer. That would be a good lens to start off with. And you can see, okay, yes, that was a good option. So I would recommend that lens if you had something like a 1000D, 1200D, even a 1300D camera. Also, if you had the Canon range of camera like the 700D, 800D, 550, 600D, those kind of bodies, this lens would be nice fitment for, because remember it is a EFS lens. Okay, so that's option number one. Let's have another look and see what else we have got available. I want to give you a few options here. So, okay, this one I would buy without a shadow of a doubt because it's the Nifty 50. 99, and there's one here for, okay, it's a 50 EF lens. It's a 50mm 1.8, and that is a fixed lens. So I mentioned before that you can get different types of lenses. Some lenses will zoom in, so you can turn and zoom in. This is a fixed lens, so this fixed lens means whatever you see is what you get. You'll have to physically move yourself, so you can't zoom in. It is a great lens. You'll get great background blur. So if you were to be able to use this 1.8 lens, you would see loads of background blur. So I'm quite sharp in this scene, and my display behind me is blurred. The tree and my typewriter are also blurred, so that brings attention to me. So what that means is you get good quality image, whereas something that doesn't have background blur, you can clearly see the screen in my behind there, which for podcast listeners, I'm sorry, you probably can't, but I'm basically showing an example of background blur versus non-background blur for different types of lenses. So that 50mm would be a great option, and I would suggest that to buy as a lens for under 100. That's a great option. Let me just copy that so I can include that for you in the description, because I know I've used a number of different lenses, so I'm quite easy in terms of the namings. But I know if you're new, you probably want something looked at so you can say, what is it exactly? Interesting. Okay, Sigma lens over there. Let's have a quick, let me bring that quickly up just so you can see it, because I know some people might be interested in doing wildlife photography, for example. So you might want to zoom in a bit more. So what would be available for you? Well, guess what? They're here. Make an offer. Sigma 55 to 200mm. So the 200mm basically means you can zoom in further. So you can be further away from, say, a bird or wildlife or pet or anything, and you can take a great shot. It's a DSC Canon EFS lens, and it's 4 to 5.6, so it'll be great for outdoor photography in the daylight. You may not get great results in the dark, but that is another great option. Lens, great condition, fully working, no faults, and at this price range, to be honest, it's 100. So you know, you can't expect it to be a top-notch lens, but for what you get for your money, that is a good option. Sigma have made great lenses in the past, and at this price range, because it's only a 200-ish pound or dollar or currency item, what you can think about is use it with your current camera. It's only when you get into the 500, 600, 700 pound lenses that you think, you know what, I'm going to buy something good that I can use on everything. Whereas this one, if you upgrade bodies, you won't be able to use it on everything. You'll only be able to use it on your EFS body. So that was a quick look at £100 range. I'm hoping you found this useful. you know what, if you've got a little bit more money, push to 200 and you'll get some other great options for you. So have a look at this video now and you'll see what you can get for 200. I'll link you to that and you'll find that really helpful. See you on that video.